Hello and welcome back to another episode of my MotoGP 22 career mode, and today we're here for the third round of our MotoGP season at the US Grand Prix at the Circuit of the Americas. Now if you haven't seen the last episode, I do recommend you go check that one out before we do get into this one so nothing's spoiled for you. But of course, in the last episode we had a very strange weekend at Termas de Rio Hondo. I thought I was going to have a really dominant weekend, I thought I was going to be really fast, able to beat AI, but it was pretty much the opposite. We struggled in practice to an extent, we struggled in qualifying, and then we struggled even more in the race. We actually didn't qualify too badly. You know, it wasn't great. It was about 8th place, I believe. Then we dropped even further back in the race. So we had a pretty awful race. I couldn't really understand why, but thinking about it after, I think it must have been the hard tyre. So even though I thought the hard tyre felt okay in practice, I think I'm just gonna steer clear of it. Clearly, it doesn't work well enough or consistently enough for it to be a completely viable option. So I think I'm going to avoid the hard tyre for now in these future races, or maybe even stick a hard tyre in when it's a track where I'm particularly dominant or whatever. But it does seem like 2 races where I've had no pace and not been able to understand why I've used a hard tyre. So I think that could just be the root cause. But we've got nothing else to do now then, so we can head straight into the USGP. I'm not sure exactly how it's going to go, for being honest. It has sort of oscillated between being a player track and an AI track over the years. Obviously back in the day it was always a player track, but ever since they slowed down the direction changes in MotoGP 21, it definitely put it back towards AI, so I'm not really sure how we're going to get on here. So I guess the only thing we can do is head into the weekend, so I'll see you after free practice, and hopefully we've got some good pace. So then, at the end of free practice, you can see we were top of the timesheets, but I got to say, I did have to push for it. It wasn't easy. I had to do quite a few different laps. Fortunately, I didn't need power mode 3 or a soft set of tyres. It was just one set of mediums. It just took me a few laps to kind of get a decent lap together, because it's so difficult, this track, with the physics model that we've got now. The slow direction changes makes the first sector a right pain. The brakes being weird makes all the hairpins pretty difficult to get stopped for as well. So this track is really the anti-MotoGP 21 plus track. It's always been a bit of a difficult one, but ever since MotoGP 21, it has been much worse and a bit more frustrating to play. But we'll head straight into qualifying 2 now then, so I'll see you there. So here we are then in Q2, and you know what you need to look for? The fact that Marc Marquez is completely absent. Even at COTA, he's not here, so I have no idea what's happened to Marc Marquez this season. He should have a stat here to be a little bit better, but he just doesn't seem to be any better at all, so that is a shame for Marc, it must be said. But coming to Q1, we've got Marc's brother Alex, and then Marco Bezzecchi as well. Now for this episode, we do have slightly different AI performance. I've tried to make it a little bit more realistic to match the real life season, but it also seems to still be a little bit crazy because Morbidelli, you saw, was up there, for example. Marc not being very good at COTA, that's just the base game for you, because he has a favourite track stat at that circuit, and either they don't seem to work anymore, they may have got rid of favourite track stats, or just the game, I don't know, it's just not working properly, because he does have a stat for it, but it just doesn't seem to be improving him at all. He just seems to be struggling at this track as well. But like I said, in practice we did struggle quite a bit to get the lap time in. I think we'll stick with the medium for this session, and well, actually no, it's recommended to be a soft rear, so that's worse. I don't want a soft rear. You know what, I might go for a soft just to see how that goes, or maybe even a soft medium. I'll go soft, see how that goes, just change the tyre compounds up a little bit, see if we can be a little bit quicker. But the overall pace does seem to be there, it's just the consistency that's lacking a little bit. I'm struggling to get it stopped, like I said. The direction changes as well in the first sector are a bit of a pain. Okay, I'm not really sure what's happening here. My AI ride has just stopped here on the track, so I guess I'll do a flying lap instead. That's very bizarre. Fortunately, no AI I've done times in the time that we've done that flying start. But very, very strange. Don't know what's happened with the autopilot there. So we're about to start our qualify lap pretty quickly. I like to have the out lap to bed into it, to be honest, but we're just going to go straight away. So through the last corner then, coming up towards the line. What's this time going to be? 202, 203.1. So actually a pretty good lap out the gate there, but you can see the AI are red in the first couple of sectors, so there's definitely still some time to find. I'll tell you what, if that was a good lap, this one is a great lap coming up towards the line. This one's going to be an easy 202, 202.4. 4 tenths clear of now Jorge Martin in second place. Fabio Quartararo is in third. I'm surprised to see Bagnaia as far down as he is, to be honest, because he's down in 7th place. Of course, he is on an improvement at the moment, but even still, I expected to see him a little bit further up the order. Morbidelli in 4th place as well, a bit of an outlier. Quite a few outliers in terms of AI performance. The AI just seem to be quite strange in this game for some reason. You just get the most random people popping up when they really shouldn't be. And Marc Marquez, for example, being absolutely nowhere at probably one of his best tracks, just does not sit right with me at all. This makes absolutely no sense. Morbidelli's just gone 2nd place. Bezzecchi has just gone 3rd place. So that really shows you that the VR46 guys was like the Austin circuit. Marini was pretty good in free practice, but doesn't seem to quite be there in this qualifier session. But it's very, very strange to see Morbidelli 2nd and Bezzecchi 3rd, because obviously I said I edited the AI performance, but that's not the results I've been getting when I've been doing quick races to test things. Morbidelli and Bezzecchi have not been frontrunners. Bezzecchi's not been far off, but Morbidelli has been definitely back of the field rider, so I have no idea why, for whatever reason, he's in 2nd place on the grid. He was really good at Argentina as well for some reason, and that was before I'd even done anything, so I have no idea why Morbidelli is so strong for some reason in this season. He seems to be just going really well. So then, at the end of the qualified session, you can see we did stay on pole position, but it must just be the Yamaha that's good at this circuit, because Morbidelli is 2nd place. Quartararo then actually moved up to 3rd place behind him, so fair play to Morbidelli for once again out-qualifying Quartararo, but I don't know why he's so strong. It just seems so bizarre that he's up there. Bezzecchi in 4th place, Martin 5th, Zarco 6th, Vignales 7th, but Bagnaia all the way down in 8th place, which does seem very, very bizarre, because he's supposed to be the best AI with these new values, and he has been in all my testing, so I don't really know why he's down in 8th place, but I guess that's just how it's worked out this time. Aleix has ended up in 9th place, Luca Marini 10th, and Nea Bastianini down in 11th, so not a great day for the factory guys, and then our teammate Alex Marquez ending up in 12th position. Now, if you judge purely on the fact that we topped qualifying and topped practice, you'd think we're going to have a very good race here. But you'd probably be wrong, because it's now going to be a wet race. So it's actually a wet race. Now, I avoided saying it earlier on just to spring it as a bit of a surprise, but it is actually a wet race, which is a bit of a shame, because when you've got pace like this, that's the last thing I needed, especially once I already finished 11th in the previous race. So I have no idea what's going to happen. We could either be really good or really bad. I'm hoping that we might be a little bit more on it in the MotoGP class in the wet weather compared to some of the other ones, especially with Moto 2. We had no traction control in Moto 2, so it was a little bit of a pain to ride in the wet conditions on that in that class. But in MotoGP, we have got all the electronics, so hopefully we can be a little bit better. But we'll head into the race now then. Like I said, it is going to be wet, so absolutely anybody could win this one. I'm just still not over how Morbidelli's 2nd on the grid. Like, Quartararo 3rd makes sense. Bagnaia even being down in sort of 8th place. It's happened already this season, and he could recover from it. And it does happen in the base game when he's supposed to be one of the better AI. So it does happen that they qualify down there every so often. But Morbidelli, like 2 races in a row, has been up there. I don't know if he was on the front row in the last race, but he was leading the race till he got took out by Bagnaia. So yeah, I just don't know what's happening with Morbidelli's AI. It just seems really, really good this season for whatever reason. Now, to be honest, I've not ridden the MotoGP bikes in the rain very much, so I just don't know how this is going to go. It could go really well or really badly, but we'll just get the race started now then, try and get the whole shot into turn 1, and then just defend for the rest of the race.
The race officials give the okay. Riders have their eyes fixed firmly on the light. Just a few more seconds, and the Grand Prix of the Americas is go.
So then there we are on pole position 2, Factory Airborne's alongside us, trying to take the win away from us. The lights are on here for the US GP. Lights out and away we go. We've had a pretty decent launch off the line there, although Morbidelli's had an even better one as we go down towards the first corner. Franco Morbidelli briefly leads us. We tried to go around the outside. There's a bit of contact with Morbidelli. I apologise for that one. I wasn't expecting to sort of let the brake off in the way that he did. Quartararo's had an absolute terrible start. He's at the 8th place. Bastianini's up to 4th. That's a rocket start from about 11th place on the grid for him. Bagnaia up to 5th. We lose a place to Martin as I clip the inside curb there. And I think we're only going to go further backwards in this one, so I'm not too worried about losing a place early on, because, let's be honest, we are just going to probably lose places throughout. And there we go, Bastianini goes past me like I'm standing still as well. So we're now down to 4th place, Bagnaia all over the back of us. Need to just try and regroup. This is going to probably be my worst section of the track, with it being all the change of directions. Even in the rain, though, I suppose it's a bit easier. We've been hit there by Bagnaia. That's not ideal. We almost came off the bike there. I mean, a small amount of contact in these conditions is just going to have us off, because there's like absolutely no grip whatsoever. We picked up a track limits 1 in there as we go onto the green part of the circuit, so we need to watch out for that one. There is only 5 laps, fortunately, so if we could not do it on 1 lap, we could do that every other lap, but either way, we're going to still try and avoid it. Onto the back straight there, we've got about half a second back to Bagnaia now, so we've got a bit of a gap. What is happening in this race? Nakagami is up to 5th place now, Marc Marquez up to 7th. I said Marc Marquez was absolutely nowhere, but all of a sudden he comes through as the rain comes down, and we've made a massive mistake into turn 12. But fortunately, we actually haven't lost a position from that one. But I must say, so far, I'm not feeling too bad. I've not lost as many positions as I thought I would. I mean, I know it's lap 1, the AI do tend to be a bit slower on lap 1, but I lost a lot of places in the first sector, but then we've sort of been able to keep with the other guys so far. So, you know what? The race might not be completely over for us. We might struggle to get a podium or anything like that, but I think we should still be able to pick up some solid points. And of course, our championship rival is technically Jack Miller, although I think he will fade. I think he's had a lucky couple of races. But even still, he's absolutely nowhere, so we're going to be gaining good points in the championship at this rate. Bastianini is really, really desperate to pass Martin. You can see he's absolutely all over the back of him. Morbidelli is checking out, so Franco Morbidelli could very well win here, which would be unbelievable considering what his AI should be doing. Should be absolutely nowhere near where we are right now. But, well, I mean, technically he's not. He is pulling away. He's just nowhere near us in the complete other sense. And to be fair, it would be sort of a good fitting ending for him considering how his race ended in the last one, being taken out by someone cutting the corner. But even still, very, very strange. All these direction changes really killed me at this circuit because the player is at such a disadvantage when it comes to changing direction compared to the AI. The front end is going all over the place as well. That's probably the biggest issue in the wet conditions, is that the rear just pushes the front. So that's what we're going to watch out for. So we fell foul of that a few times in wet races in this career mode. I think Bastianini's finally made the move on Martin. He sort of moved him out a little bit. There's the yellow flag behind. So there is a rider down behind us. So we've now got Bagnaia all over the back of us. So he's managed to pass Quartararo and Nakagami. Not sure where Quartararo's actually gone if you look on the left-hand side. His name seems to have disappeared. So maybe it was him that had the crash behind. But I thought he was still there on the standings. But perhaps not. Maybe he was the crash, or maybe he's had another crash afterwards and I just didn't see because of the yellow flag and just tried to stay on the track. But you can see now Bastianini and Martin are checking away from me. And you can see these other two guys right behind us, Bagnaia and Nakagami, looking desperate. There goes Nakagami flying past us on the main straight. Can we outbrake him into turn 1? Well, I think I might be about to crash because I absolutely locked the front end up there. Somehow we stay on the bike, but Zarco out of nowhere comes past us. So I don't know where Johan Zarco came from, but he's up to 4th place now. Then Nakagami up to 5th, myself down to 6th place. So unfortunately, this is where it started to unravel. Bagnaia looked up the inside there, but I just wanted to try and keep that position as long as I can. Oh, Bagnaia's looking up the inside again. So we tried us at turn 1, of course. We managed to keep him behind, but he was trying once again through there. Looks like Nakagami's now desperate to try and get past Zarco. And to be fair play to Nakagami, because he has come from absolutely nowhere. His pace must be pretty electric. But you can see in the front, Morbidelli has completely gone. He's really left the other two Ducatis behind. In fact, Martin as well has got back past Bastianini now. So those two are having a pretty good battle. And if they keep battling, maybe they'll bring us into it. I'm not too sure. I guess we'll have to see. Use a little bit of Hammer 3 here on this straight to try and stay with them. But it's no help at all. Look at Bagnaia flying past us. That's absolutely terrible. And so is Marquez as well. So everyone's just flying past us. In fact, Marquez has flown past the pair of us. So I don't know what kind of pace, what kind of engine is in the back of that Honda. And also we've got, oh, Marquez is down. Oh, there's another crash as well. I don't know who that was. Who even was that? I think that might have been Bastianini. But then we had two riders on the inside as well there, Miller and Marquez. Well, we had both Marquez brothers, I guess, at the inside at the same time, but Alex Marquez. So much has just happened there. So apologies for not commentating on all of it. But there was Marquez lost the front, Bastianini lost the front. But at the same time, we were getting dive bombed on at half the field. We had like the KTM of Jack Miller at the inside there, Alex Marquez at the inside as well. So Jack Miller, the championship leader, has now moved back ahead of us and is up to 5th place. So he's going to extend his championship lead at this rate. And now we've got Fabio Quartararo behind us, so maybe he didn't crash then. He must have just ran wide or had a bad couple of corners or something. But he's about to overtake me. In fact, he has ran the outside. And now we've got Bezzecchi at the inside. Everyone's just attacking me. They're being so aggressive. And it's shoved me back down to 10th place. And here comes Aleix Espargaro. So we're going to put us down to 11th, which is where we finished in the last race, if you do remember. On the brakes into turn 1 once again. We've got Aleix at the inside. Aleix goes at the inside. He has contact and he's down. Oh, and now Brad Binder's at the inside of us and goes down as well. I'm surprised that Aleix didn't knock off Bezzecchi there on the inside. He lost the front and hit Bezzecchi. Bezzecchi was fortunate to stay on. Brad Binder, unfortunate to just clip us. But the AI, they just ride like you're not there. They kind of deserve it to an extent. And we're now down to 12th place behind Joan Mir, who of course we were battling for 11th place last race. So he's finally got his own back on us. And Marc Marquez is half a second behind us. And he literally just crashed half a lap ago. So the AI, out of nowhere, have just picked up their pace even more. And I think now that the tyres are going off, I'm losing even more pace. And there's nothing I can do. Marquez just hits me out the way. And to be honest, we're going to be looking to score points in this one. And we've now got yeah, we're going backwards. I'm 15th. I'm 15th place. With Polesmagro completely over the line, really, that move there with Vinales as well. They both just completely dipoled on the inside. And now we've got Ralph Fernandez on the inside, and we are outside of the points. And Brad Binder, who fell off earlier on in this lap, is now 0.3 behind me. I don't understand how the AI don't lose any time when they fall off as well. It's very unfair, because the player definitely loses a lot more time than that. Jorge Martin has had a crash, but to be honest, he's probably going to get back on in front of us anyway. Oh, we've been dipoled by Brad Binder, and oh, he's knocked us off! Come on, Brad! Oh, and we fell through the map as well. What a disaster. This race has absolutely turned into a disaster, and to be honest, I think this will probably be it in terms of the... I think that'll be it. The retirement will probably come out now. I think I will just ride round so that AI do actually get their correct positions, but yeah, that's a white flag from me because we're 6 seconds behind Enea Bastianini. Bagnaia has crashed out of 3rd place. If Francesco Bagnaia has crashed, that's probably good for us in the championship, although, to be fair, it's Jack Miller that we actually need to crash at this point. And I think he's out the race because we've moved up into 19th place now then. Morbidelli! Morbidelli's just crashed! Don't tell me he's crashed right before the end of the race! Poor Morbidelli. Quartararo's got down as well. I think Morbidelli's actually still won the race. Even with that, to be fair play to Morbidelli because he definitely deserved that one. He'd been leading lights to flag and he had a crash there, but it does seem like he's still won the race regardless. Quartararo's had perhaps his 2nd crash of the race. I'm not too sure, to be honest, but that's allowed Jack Miller to finish on the podium. So Jack Miller's on the podium and we're outside the points. Well, I thought I'd be the one scoring big over him, but it turns out I was absolutely wrong with that one. But coming up towards the line then, we are going to finish 19th place. But honestly, there's little that we could do in that one. So Franco Morbidelli then wins 1/10 ahead of Johann Zarco. Unbelievable, he only just beat Zarco. I mean, I saw it come up crash. I was devastated for him, to be honest, because he really deserved the win. He'd absolutely dominated the race. He'd qualified well in the dry somehow as well. He really did deserve to win that one, so I'm happy that Morbidelli did, to be fair. Zarco, of course, ended up 2nd. Jack Miller ended up in 3rd place. Nakagami in 4th. Bagnaia in 5th. So actually, Bagnaia must not have retired. I think it might have been Ralph Fernandez that retired because it said he was in front of me and then did disappear. So apologies for that, guys. I did get that one wrong. I just saw Bagnaia crash and then I moved up a place, so I just kind of put 2 and 2 together, but I guess I got 6 instead of 4, so, you know, I didn't quite do that one right. 6th place then for Alex Marquez, so at least one of the Grassini guys did do pretty well in this race. Quartararo, despite crashing right at the end there, finished 7th place. Polesmagro finished in 8th, Luca Marini 9th, and Maverick Vinales rounded out the top 10. So in the Riders' Championship then, Jack Miller continues to lead now, 12 points clear of Johann Zarco in 2nd place. Morbidelli rockets up to 3rd place in the championship. I move down to 4th, Bagnaia moves up to 5th, Martin moves down to 6th, Fabio Quartararo moves up to 7th, and Enea Bastianini moves down a few places to 8th place. Aleix Espargaro moves down to 9th, and Paul Espargaro's brother moves up to 10th. So a decent amount of change there in the championship. Fortunately, we're only 26 points off the championship lead, but even still, you never really want to make up a race wins worth to a rider, but hopefully it should be a bit easier because you can see it's not just me that's that far off, a lot of the other AI are as well, so hopefully we'll all be able to sort of take points off Jack Miller, but honestly so far it seems pretty difficult to do that because I'm pretty sure he's finished second, third, so Jack Miller has pretty much had a flawless season. He's not won a race yet, but he's come pretty close and he's been riding very well, so fair play to him, leading on his KTM debut, his first season for KTM. Looking at the Teams Championship now then, Prima Pramac do continue to lead now, 10 points clear of a Red Bull KTM Factory Racing. Monster Energy Yamaha move up to 3rd place, Ducati Lenovo move down to 4th, Aprilia move down to 5th, and ourselves at Grassini move down to 6th position. As for the Constructors, Ducati do continue to lead. Their win streak is ended, of course, by Franco Morbidelli on the Yamaha, but we've still got a 14-point lead over KTM in the Constructors. Yamaha move up to 3rd ahead of Aprilia now in 4th place, and Honda remain in 5th position. But fortunately, they picked up a few more points in this race, so they're not completely out of it. They did have a pretty decent weekend with Nakagami finishing pretty high up. With that dealt with then, we should head back to the career hub. It's not going to be good news for us. We did at least meet the qualifying objective, but the race objective we didn't. Now, not really any fault of my own because the AI are just completely ridiculous in the wet conditions. And also, they were just riding very aggressively in a very dirty way as well, which just didn't help me out at all because I had to then avoid them, which made me even slower. Now, I probably did start to tighten up once a few of them have put hard moves on me, so again, that probably didn't help, but ultimately, we weren't probably going to finish in the points anyway, so it doesn't matter too much we were knocked off. Just a bit of a shame. It kind of ruined any potential battle we could have had. So then, not too bad actually on the reputation. We only lost 3,000, so we're down to 245,000 400 reputation, so that certainly could have been a lot worse with a 19th place finish. As for the credits, of course, you never get a penalty for that. If you don't meet the objective, you still get paid, but just a really small amount. You can see we got 200, which takes us up to 631,328 credits. So here we are then, back at the career hub, and we actually have got a couple of upgrades that have just come in. So aerodynamics, you can see, are now 100% complete. Frame is 25, but the engine is still a few weeks away yet. I can't put anything else on because we've not got enough research data yet, but I will, of course, have to put them back on the research production. But we haven't got anything else to do, so we'll just keep advancing forward now to the next race weekend. And there we are then, advanced to the Spanish Grand Prix. So that pretty much does bring this episode to a close. So I hope you guys have enjoyed that one. A very, very strange episode, it must be said. The AI were all over the place in qualifying. They didn't have the results I expected them to have. Morbidelli was on the front row somehow. I have no idea how that happened. Marquez was nowhere. Then the race, it was absolutely tipping it down. I started off not too bad, then got demolished by the AI, then got demolished by Brad Binder's bike. Just such a strange race. Morbidelli ends up winning the race. I wouldn't have put any money on that going into it. You know, even if I'd been told it was a wet race, I'd assume he'd been bad in both conditions. But somehow, he was good in both of them. I don't really understand how that's happened. But yeah, like I said, I hope you guys did enjoy that one. Hopefully I wasn't complaining too much about the AI. Obviously it is a bit annoying when they knock you off and when they're a bit overpowered in the rain, but it happens, you know. There's going to be races where in the dry I'm going to be ridiculously overpowered compared to the AI, so you are just going to have to take it. You know, that's just the problems with this game, unfortunately. So we are just going to have to try and put up with it wherever possible. But like I said, I hope you guys did enjoy that one. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Hope you all stay safe, and I shall see you in the next one.